This is the Rapcast, brought to you by Raptors Republic. I'm Kris Cuaresma, and I am stoked, excited to have the two guests that we have in today. If you're a Raptors fan and you're part of the always entertaining Raptors Twitter community, then you're quite familiar with these two individuals. Our first guest has multiple ties all over the place, some of them including CBC Sports, covering the WNBA for Locked On Women's Basketball, Venus Sports. She also covers basketball, tennis for Unbenched. I know I might be missing a few things, so I apologize, but we've got none other than Crina Mustafa with us today. Crina, I'm pretty sure we've been in the odd Liberty post Zoom scrum together at one point or another, but other than that, we've never really had a chance to kind of interact. So thank you for finding the time to come onto the show today. How's it going?
Of course. Thank you. Wow. Did you research? Nice intro. Thanks.
No worries. I got you. Our second guest, you've heard the gentleman's laugh in the background if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I've had the privilege of speaking to before, all the way back to the advent of bubble basketball. He was still contributing to the Raptors Republic at the time, but now he puts in work for the Score, putting together their NBA content. We've got Baraheni in the virtual building. What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. I like the intros you got going on. I feel special right now. Feels good. Feeling great. I'm good though. I'm good.
That's good. I'm trying to bring the energy in the morning. For context for our listeners and viewers, we're filming this just after 10 in the morning. Pre-show, I was kind of signaling that I wasn't the biggest morning person, but here we are today. We're off to a good start, and the Raptors are off to a good start. They're back in Toronto. Big win against the 76ers. But being back in the city, what this means for the team from the front office, cascading all the way down to the players, the trainers, the rest of the staff, they can finally go back to their home routine and completely abandon whatever routine they had in Tampa. For our viewers and our listeners, I wanted to kind of get you guys to maybe talk a little bit about your morning routine and what that looks like, and maybe what your game day routine looks like.
Oh, man.
As you go first, load it up first.
My morning routine is set 25 alarms for myself so that I can hopefully wake up by the time I have to be awake. And then I kind of delay it. Like if I have to be awake by 9:30, I'll probably, dust off at 9:45 and just get out of bed. But so yeah, that's the type of person I am. I need 50 plus alarms to wake up. Wake up, brush your teeth, do your thing. I don't eat breakfast in the morning. Breakfast is overrated. We don't do breakfast in this household.
Oh no, we're gonna fight.
No. I like breakfast every now and then. Breakfast is cool, but I'll keep grinding. I'll wait till lunchtime and just be able to. Anyways. So that's my morning routine. Just wake up and be very sad.
You don't like that feeling of being full in the morning. You'd rather grind on an empty stomach, I'm guessing then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Crina, what about you?
Interesting. My morning routine, luckily now with school, I don't have any classes before 11, so I just sleep as much as I can. I don't have to set an alarm. But I wake up, brush my teeth, I eat breakfast because breakfast is good. And then I just go on with my day.
All right, so we got Team Breakfast and Team No Breakfast in the building here on the Rapcast. What about, just very quickly, what about game day routines? We know players, athletes from any sport have their own kind of routine. As a fan of the Raptors, like leading up to tip-off, what are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, I make sure I have my setup of like my laptop, my phone, where I'm putting the Raptors on the screen, getting ready to live tweet all my silly tweets.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I got a little setup here. So like I just put out the laptop, get the phone out to record, get the TV out. It's like 5 different things playing the game at once just to make sure that I have like something to be able to record on. Especially because, this year I want to make it a point of emphasis to be able to clip games and show some highlights on the timeline. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do as a point of emphasis.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Again, I appreciate both of you guys joining us here on the Rapcast. Obviously, huge win against the Philadelphia 76ers, 123-107. Talking about clips and highlights, we had them. We had plenty of them, right? A plethora of them last night. But let's go. Let's start off with our first segment here, guys. Let's go to the moon with Crina, Mustafa, and Baraheni. We'll start with you. In your opinion, which player's stock is trending upwards?
Trending upwards. I mean, I think there's a lot of players, especially if we're starting with the preseason game against the Sixers. There's a lot of players that showed that they could be trending upwards. Obviously, there's some more obvious choices. I'm going to go a little bit deeper and pick a not obvious choice. I think Yuta Watanabe is a very, very good choice for trending upwards.
You took my guy.
My bad. But yeah, I think Yuta is a guy that absolutely can trend upwards. After the game, Nick Nurse said that he is part of the rotation. I think that's something that's really crucial because there's so many forwards on this team. That there's so many guys who are kind of in front of him in the pecking order that it's good to know that he is actually going to get the minutes that he honestly rightfully deserves. I think he adds a bit of shooting to it. He can play make. He can attack guys off the dribble, and that's just a multitude of things that he can do on that end. He's also a solid defender. So he's just versatile enough where I think he can take that next step into being a legitimate rotation player in the NBA versus, last year and the year before that when he was with, I believe, Memphis. It was a struggle to see him being in the NBA for a long time. Now you can envision him having a solid career and, playing 5+ years, 6+ years in this as a rotation player, as a role player on a team. So I think that's the trend upwards for Yuta.
And I think you saw with him, sorry, I'm just going to add on because he took my guy, so I'm just going to add on a little bit. But yeah, he was a lot more active last night. I feel like he was a lot more deliberate with what he was doing, whereas last season, for example, was a little bit more passive. So, and I think that just speaks to his confidence growing. And I don't know, I'm really excited to see him this season.
Yeah, I honestly, Utah was going to be mine as well. So I think we're all on the same page. Again, Raptors defeating the 76ers 123-107. We talk about highlights and the clips. It set Raptors Twitter, Raptors Reddit, wherever you kind of follow the Raptors on socials, into a complete frenzy. It was a super fun game for preseason action. Obviously, we're still very early in the process, and it's a little bit difficult to kind of tell who's going to be playing meaningful minutes, later in the season or even early in the season. But Crina, which player maybe not necessarily from the game, but just in general, is worth keeping faith in the long run? Maybe a player that didn't necessarily pop off on the screen against Philly, or perhaps won't even blow us away early on.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different guys that you can take away from last night just because of how much contribution we got from everybody. I mean, Goran was good for us. I think that a lot of people were really skeptical about him coming. I know it was a huge thing, but you can kind of see his fit with the Raptors. And I'm even going to go the other guy, Precious. Precious to me really, really stood out to me. First of all, he's so much fun to watch. He's such a fun player. He's got so much pizzazz. And so I think that brings that energy, like we've been talking about this entire preseason, where the vibes are going to be immaculate this year. And I feel like Precious is one of those guys. I know everyone's talking about Scotty, but
I was so rattled by how confident he was, especially for being a less tenured player. There was no hesitation whatsoever with him bringing the ball up the court, doing step backs, walking it back to the 3-point line, banking it off the glass. He had some serious confidence to his game. And I mean, early on, it looks like he's gonna try to make a statement this year.
Yeah, for sure. And especially when you have sorry.
Go ahead. You're good.
Especially with there's a couple of guys now who are going to be fighting for the roster spot. And I don't want to get too attached to anybody, but some of these guys are going to show up now. And I know obviously Freddie Gillespie is probably going to be one of those guys that probably doesn't make it. But yeah, Precious was definitely a big positive last night.
Go ahead, S.
It seems, and I totally agree with what both of you guys are saying about Precious. Like some of the comps that happened when he was coming out of college was the fact that he was very Bam-esque. He was like a Bam light type player, and seeing him bring the ball up the court, expanding his range. All of these are kind of the steps to take to move towards that direction. I think it's interesting, man. I think he resembles the energy of a lot of former Raptors bigs, whether you think of like Amir Johnson, or like or even to a certain extent a Serge Ibaka. I've tweeted that a bunch of times. He doesn't play the same game as Serge, but they have that same feel to them when they're on the court, where it feels like they just bring an inordinate amount of energy. Like they just know how to lay their impact on the game. So I think that's a great choice. One guy that I wanted to bring up to your question was Ish Wainwright. I think Wainwright is also a solid player. I think he's a versatile defender. He can sort of be your, like he plays that PJ Tucker role where he's just like a big body in a small person. And I understand that. I relate to that very much because I am a big body in not the right way in a small person. So I, yeah, I understand where he's coming from. And I actually think like that's something that the Raptors could use as well. It's like the versatility on the wings, being able to guard your threes, your fours, and sometime your small ball fives. Like that's something that Ish Wainwright could potentially bring. I would like to see him make the roster, and I think he will. I think he is going to have that edge over a guy like Freddie, like you mentioned, Crina, to make the roster. So yeah, even though he played, I think maybe 2 or 3 minutes last night, I could see him potentially being a solid part of this rotation too.
Yeah, I mean, and with Ish too, like the fact that he used to play football, I feel like is something that's a little bit underrated when we're talking about him, because just athletes being able to play other sports and then like, transferring those skills into the specialized sport that they're doing at the moment, I feel like puts them at an advantage over someone, say, who's been playing only basketball their entire life.
Absolutely. That's why my expertise in darts makes me such a good passer as a point guard. Just I am so good at passing just because accuracy.
I didn't expect a dart reference in this show, so I'm glad we got that out of the way. It's very curious though, and very fascinating that we talk about all these players and we're literally going from the top of the roster to the bottom of the roster. This may be one of the more entertaining and exciting preseasons we've had in a while, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how it all unfolds and plays out. Guys, we've got at Crina MM and at Jess S. Baraheni. Follow them on Twitter if you aren't already. Make sure you're following Raptors Republic across all social platforms, including YouTube, especially for this next segment, something I like to call Back to the Drawing Board. I'll be honest, it's a name that changes every day. We're going to ask our guests various questions, and they are either going to draw or, if they're not artistic, write their answer down, something you'll be able to see exclusively on YouTube. So let's go back to the drawing board with both Crina and S. For this one, to kind of start it off, you guys can write or draw your answer down. And we'll start with everyone's favorite Raptor, Goran Dragic. He's only here for a good time, not a long time for sure. But while he is a Raptor, guys, what's the one thing he can contribute to the team? What is the one thing that he can bring to the table, whether it's a physical, quantitative, or an intangible trait, whatever you guys feel is best. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to kind of think about your answer and explanation. You started alongside Freddie VanVleet against the 76ers. We're still a bit unsure if he's going to hold that spot down or if it's up for grabs, especially if you're a Gary Trent fan. He finished with 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting in 16 minutes. So we'll start with Crina here.
2 seconds.
Okay, fair enough.
I can't draw, so I'm writing my answer.
Okay.
I can't draw, but I'm trying to draw. All right, I'll figure it out.
Nice. We've got some variety here.
Okay. All right.
I'll play as well. All right. So what do you got for us, Crina?
Okay. So I got cleaning up the offensive boards.
Okay.
Something that I noticed last night is in the paint, it could get a little bit messy at times. And I feel like he was there a lot, just really active. Like you always had kind of like 3 Raptors underneath the basket at a time. And if someone missed a layup or someone missed a floater or whatever it was, I think he's pretty good at just being there and like knowing that he needs to put the ball back in the basket. And I feel like that's something that was a big problem for the Raptors last year, especially, you know, with the lack of bodies. But he's just a guy who's been around for a while. He knows where he needs to be. And I feel like that's something good for the Raptors this year.
Yo,
Awesome.
that's such a good answer compared to my stupidity. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this.
No, we
Okay.
can. Yeah. Walk us through this fine piece of art you've got there.
Of course. So this is obviously Goran Dragic. You see the number 1, you know, the jersey. Okay.
Yeah.
It says, you know, he's giving out wisdom. These little marks here are him embarking his wisdom. He says, believe in yourself. You got this. And he also says, good job, Scotty. So I think veteran leadership is something that he can bring, which is being a wise person on this team. There's not a lot of, you know, it's a young team. He's in his 30s. I think he might be the only guy on the team in his 30s.
Right.
So he can embark some wisdom on the players, show them the ropes, so to speak. So yes,
I appreciate that, because we talk about stealing answers. You basically took mine a little a little bit. Scotty and Dragic. I saw your caption there. I loved seeing all the little interactions. It's like the most unexpected best friend, you know, plot twist we could have had with the Raptors. You know, you heard Dragic say glowing stuff about Scotty during his presser, and then even small exchanges like during the pregame introductions. You can tell they've kind of established a nice little bond there, and now I'm kind of into Dragic. Before I was like, I don't know about this, but they're hitting off. So if that's the one thing the Dragon can kind of bring, that'd be one of them. Let's do another one here. If you guys could sum up your expectations for this season with a picture, a drawing, or a couple of words, what would it be and why? So again, I'll give you guys a bit more time, a few more seconds here to put your thoughts to paper or thoughts to whiteboard. Raptors Republic put out its roundtable recently with everyone laying down their predictions and their win totals for the season. We know how Vegas feels about us setting the over-under total to 36.5, and an argument can be genuinely made for either side of the fence. Crina S, who wants to go first on this one?
God damn it! Hold on, I gotta think about how I'm gonna do this without offending people. Okay, all right.
You know, a thing or two are getting packed up on Twitter. I took a non-serious approach with this one because, unlike S, I'm feeling like I want to anger Raptors Twitter today, or just Twitter in general. I drew the Larry OB.
Nice. But then you have the JK at the bottom there.
Yes, it's a disclaimer in case anybody tries to come after me. But no, like obviously not for this season. But I feel like just the steps that the Raptors are taking in the long run, they're trying to get back to that championship mentality, and I think that's good. And I think that it started with Masai re-signing with the Raptors, and I think we're in good hands for the future. Like the Raptors have a good future.
I agree. It's a nice little segue into a new era. S, you ready?
Okay, so I didn't draw this time. This time. I tried to make one of those T-shirts, you know, like all day I dream about, or good vibes. What's that one that they have where it says like, don't worry, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about?
Like stay calm and
stay calm
and just
whatever.
like, yeah.
So I tried to make my own version. Okay, yeah. So this is good vibes, meh team, and development. So it's gonna be great vibes. You guys are gonna enjoy watching every single game. Every single game is gonna be an absolute joy to watch because you're gonna see guys having fun. There's gonna be some exciting plays here and there. They're gonna be competitive, but will they win a lot? I don't know, and I tend to go on the opposite side of things of saying they probably won't win a ton. There is a chance. There is a very good chance that this team figures it out. And, you know, last night I made the comp on Twitter where I was like, this team feels very like 2013 Raptors-esque, where they made that one midseason trade of obviously flipping Rudy Gay, and it turned out to make them go to the playoffs and kind of flip the script entirely. It feels that way for this team as well. Maybe Goran moving on is the thing that changes that. Who knows? But yeah, I think good vibes, team, and development. Development is the thing that I think we should all focus on this year. So yeah,
for sure. I like both answers. I'm kind of on the same wavelength. I wasn't sure how to draw. It's not indifferent. I know the face comes off as indifferent, but it's neither happy or sad. And I think we just kind of have to expect an up and down season. And then again, focusing on that development and where we are as a team. Obviously, guys like Freddie, Pascal, OG, some of the more tenured guys, Nick, obviously, they're going to want to give it their all. And there's still a very real potential for the team to get into the playoffs. But again, for me, like you guys, the development is a big part of it. 905 games are going to be fire as well this year. So it again, very, very exciting season, regardless of where we end up in the standings. That was fun, guys. Thank you for doing that.
I gotta say, your guy looks kind of mad. I'm not gonna lie. He looks kind of mad. He looked a little mad, man. I'm just putting it out there. He didn't see.
It might be a viable drawing depending on which direction we go. We know there's going to be very violent ups and downs this year as a Raptors fan. So, but yeah, appreciate you guys doing that. I think it went well. We'll go to our next segment here. It's called Would Recommend. Guys, when the pandemic first hit, I think like we all became homebodies, right? Trapped in our own homes with almost nothing to do but stream our favorite TV shows and movies because it was the only thing to do. Now that the NBA is back in Toronto, we won't have as much time to dedicate to watching TV, or at the very least taking chances on shows like we used to. So with Crina and S on board here, they're going to help us out. Before we reveal our would recommend Raptor statements, guys, what's one movie or show that you're currently watching or you've seen that you'd recommend to our community?
Okay, I'll go first. I know S is like the expert on movie and TV.
Expert. Nah, I do have a lot of options, so I'm excited for this. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really have that much time to be watching movies and TV and stuff like that. But I have been watching the Marvel movies in order for the very first time.
For the first time?
For the first time, yeah. I just never got around to watching any of them. It's been an experience. The most recent one I watched was Civil War. Very messy. Very messy.
Yeah.
But I've been enjoying
drama.
them. Yeah, hashtag drama indeed. I've also been rewatching the TV show Mom on Netflix. I don't know if anyone knows. It's like basically about mother-daughter relationships. They're recovering alcoholics, but it's a very, very funny show.
Yeah, I dig it.
Those are both great shows. Oh well, the Marvel is just y'all. Listen, if you follow me on Twitter, you know I'm gonna be geeking out about some Marvel all the time. Man, there's so many things I want to suggest. I guess the one thing I would suggest is Squid Game. Everybody's watching Squid Game right now. I would highly recommend watching that show. Korean television show, and it's insane. That's the only thing I would be able to give you without giving away too much of the plot, is the fact that is an insane TV show. Yeah, I would say it gives you reality TV vibes, but it also gives you the vibe of like, this is real life. This is not a reality TV show. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's hard to explain, but ladies and gentlemen, I am craving honeycombs. All right. I love honeycombs, and I want to try a honeycomb. I feel like I've never had one, and this show makes me want to have a honeycomb. So yeah.
With a Raptor logo on it of some sort. That's all I'll say. I just finished episode 3, and I agree. It's insane. One thing, just quickly on this, one thing that I don't want to say that the pandemic did, but as a result, a carryover of the pandemic is that it kind of really opened, at least from my world, opened me up to international content in terms of movies and TV shows. Like I got into shows like Squid Game, Money Heist, and there's a lot of wild, crazy, good stories, talented actors in terms of the international scene. And these are some of movies and shows that I necessarily wouldn't consider watching before the pandemic, but now they're also fire. And so it's opened up my eyes and opened up my world in terms of movies and TV shows. But I would recommend Squid Game as well. I'm not even done yet.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because that makes me think of Lupin, which is an excellent show. I highly recommend that.
Yeah, Arsène Lupin. Yeah, I agree. Lupin is also an awesome show. You guys are spot on with the international scheme. Like it's given us, and Netflix does a great job of that. Let's be real. Like they really know how to bring out international TV shows that kind of like they're just really entertaining, highly entertaining. One thing I would say is, I know Crina mentioned that she doesn't have time to watch movie and TV shows. I would recommend just not sleeping. That's what I do. I don't sleep. I just don't sleep, and it works out. You know, I got all the time in the world for TV shows.
Here I was thinking you were about to give a serious answer.
Yeah, you set us up both for that one. But let's play would recommend with our beloved Raptors this time, in which we make, a random general easy recommendation and then explain why. I'll begin. I'll set the table here. I would recommend that fans not get on Pascal Siakam, or maybe be disappointed with Pascal when he's eventually going to struggle, either during his first few games back from injury, or maybe we get to that low point in the middle of the season. Whether you believe he's like the guy or just a guy, his success is directly tied to the team, right, guys? Like, he'll only go as far as he'll take us when we look at the team this year and we keep that lens of this year. Yes, OG's development is going to be key and massive. Freddie kind of taking that lead role from Kyle is going to be a big deal. And the bench mob can be bench mob 3.0. That's going to be fun. But for this team to get where it would like to go in terms of, making some kind of respectable playoff run, it's going to fall on Pascal's shoulders. He's been taking lead reps for a while now, but this is going to be his first full season, as his words, like the guy without Lowry. And so these reps are also pretty massive for him. We talk about OG getting his reps. It's going to be a big year for Pascal, so be prepared for those ups and downs. That's what I would recommend. Thank you. S, you're up. What would you recommend?
I love it. I loved your explanation for that. I think you're spot on, by the way. That was a great point. I think this will be a twofold explanation, but I would tell Raptors fans, I would recommend to Raptors fans to temper their expectations when it comes to OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes. Relax, calmo. Just take a breath. Take a breath every time you want to talk about these two players. Yes, it's fun to overreact. You see me doing it all the time. Overreacting. Okay, anyways, I won't do it today. It's fun to see people overreact, right? It's fun to say OG MVP, Scotty Barnes Rookie of the Year. Yeah, that is great, but I realized through my time on Twitter is that, like, sometimes when you tweet something, it actually ends up, trickling down and people start to believe that stuff. I think it's important to be able to say, hey, these guys are guys that are good basketball players. We hope that they can develop into stars or superstars and potential all-stars. But at the same time, we have to kind of just live with the development. Whatever happens, happens. And I don't want people to be disappointed if it doesn't go out the way that they want it to. So I guess that's what I would say. Temper your expectations when it comes to OG and Scotty.
I think you're spot on. And then I'll go and I'll kind of build off on that a little bit, is don't get hung up on a lack of accolades for our players. So if none of them get all-star this year, or if OG doesn't make the whatever, doesn't get defensive player of the year, or doesn't make all defense, like, it's really not as big of a deal as it feels like in the moment. Like, I know, like, everyone's like, oh, we get disrespected every year. And, like, even with all-stars, like, there's so many factors that go into that. I mean, if our team is not good, that's going to play a huge factor. It's a major factor of last year too. And so, yeah, like, just kind of saying that, like, temper your expectations. You don't have to fight about everything all the time on Twitter. I know no one's going to listen to me, but just putting it out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. For me, like, OG already has multiple all defensive team. Like in my mind, he's already been on multiple all defensive teams. So I totally agree with you both. I Before we move on to our last segment and wrap things up, I saw. Would you recommend the Wave S? Like I saw things about the Wave on the timeline, and
Oh God.
I honestly don't even know what it's about. So
No, you know what? I've talked to my PR reps and I've decided no comment. All right, no comment. No, I'm kidding. I'm playing. Look, man. Look, I like to have fun when I'm at games. All right, events.
who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. All right, in the Raptors games when they say clap, 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 clap your hands.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the guy that is always clapping my hands. Okay, I love that type of stuff. All right, I love it. Okay. And if someone is asking me to do the wave, I'm going to do the wave. Okay. I'm going to do the wave better than anybody else does the wave. So that's why. And by the way, anybody who thinks it's a jinx, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm talking to you, Halima. I don't know if you're listening to this. You're wrong. The wave does not count as a jinx. Okay. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it there. But my PR reps, my official statement is no comment. All right.
I wanted to set S off, so I feel like we got there. Let's wrap things up on the show. This is the Rapcast brought to you by Raptors Republic. Let's wrap things up by checking out what's trending in the news and on socials this past week. Funny enough, it was social media that was in the news yesterday when Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and even at times Twitter was kind of wonky. They all went down for extended periods. Social media managers were just tripping out yesterday. How did this affect the both of you? And were any of you just slightly concerned for Raptors Twitter, especially due to how big of a day it was?
See, it wasn't just social media managers that were worrying. It was 50 and 60-year-old mothers and fathers that were running around
Right.
scared because Facebook has been taken away from them, right? Yeah, it was an interesting time. I honestly had no idea Facebook or Instagram was even down. I was on Twitter the entire time and I'm like, oh, why is everybody freaking out? Why do I keep seeing Instagram and Facebook? I go on Instagram and Facebook and it's not working. So I honestly don't use those apps as much. I don't use those apps as much. I don't really go on Facebook a lot. It kind of has turned out to be like my email where I'll just or like my junk mail where I'll just go check it every now and then just to clear notifications and leave. But yeah, I feel bad for the mothers and fathers out there that use Facebook on the daily.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice Facebook or Instagram were down either because my whole online identity is on Twitter. But I did notice that WhatsApp was down because I do use it to talk to people. But yeah, worked my way around it. And then when Twitter went down, I just ended up emailing people, honestly.
Back to the emails. Let's get one piece of sports news in there, guys. This past Sunday, I don't know if you guys follow football. I know I saw you tweeting a little bit about the game, but Tom Brady and the Bucks took center stage this past weekend against his former marriage of like 14, 15 years and Bill Belichick and the Patriots. But what stole the spotlight leading up to the game was the promo that they used that featured Adele and her song "Hello." Have you guys seen that promo by any chance?
I think I saw a little bit of it. Yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
The "Hello," the perfect background song to Brady coming back to New England to take on Bill Belichick. That marriage, that relationship, kind of falling apart, and then them kind of clashing on that Sunday matchup. Kyle Lowry returns to Toronto this season on February 3rd. If you guys were in charge of putting a promo together, what song would you use for that game?
Oh
Wow.
man, that's tough.
Hitting right where it hurts.
Yeah, that is tough. What promo would I use? The first thing I thought of.
Hello would also work for that.
Yeah, hello would be great. Hello would be great. This is a tough one. Tough cookie. What about? It doesn't really work. It would have worked if there was an opportunity for him to come back. But like, that Tyler the Creator song where he's like, "Don't leave, it's my fault." Yeah, that one. So like, yeah, that would be the one I would pick. I'm trying to think what would be another good one. What would be another good one? Let me see if I can. Let me pull up.
Gotta get a Drake song in there somehow.
Gears are turning for sure. I like that. Yeah. So we got Tyler the Creator. We got Drake. Maybe
let me see. Let me see.
Maybe something old school, like a slow jam of some sort. Anything by Boys to Men. It's gonna be dramatic, no matter what. And then I'm gonna feel some type of way when he throws a lob to Bam and
oh yeah. What about We Belong Together by Mariah Carey? We belong together.
From the Emancipation of Mimi. That's the album you're going to. I love it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I've got everything I need. We've cut up a fire promo. That's really good. I've actually been jamming to Adele all weekend because of that Hello promo by NBC. And yesterday, one last thing. Yesterday, she was trending. Her website and social media were all updated. She's teasing a potential comeback and the release of 30. Her last album, 25, was actually released in 2015. So go back in the time machine here. That was the year. That was like peak WeTheNorth. It had that. Actually, I'm going to try and bring up the team now for you guys. It was the team that went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs, eventually bowing out 4-2.
Bismack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to share my screen here.
That was the year we had the Huskies jerseys, right?
Yeah. Shout out Louis Scola, I believe he was on here too. Shout out Corey Joseph. Yeah, you
guys can see the roster there. So that was the roster. The last time Adele was dominating the airwaves. So basically, my question is, Adele is teasing a potential comeback. Who on this roster would you like to see return to this year's iteration of the team?
Lowry is a cop out. Lowry's a cop out answer.
Don't use Kyle.
You know what? I would actually say Terrence Ross. I think Terrence Ross would be a cool pick. He's gotten a lot better in Orlando in terms of being more consistent. That was always the issue here in Toronto. So I think that would be something that'd be much needed. Obviously, shooting is a premium on this team. That's why guys like Yuta Watanabe and Malachi Flynn are going to be getting a lot of minutes, is because they're good shooters. So I think Terrence Ross being a good shooter would fit in really, really well on this team.
Bring back Norman Powell. I want him back. That's what I have to say. Bring him back. I miss Norm.
I like Norm. I like Norm on this team as well. I would have also liked Bismack. Man, that guy was wilding out during that entire playoff run. Like, him showing no back down against LeBron in that series, especially in those two home games where he kind of met LeBron at the rim, and he was always doing like the Usain Bolt celly after, oops from Kyle. That was a lot of energy. That was a lot of fun. It didn't end the way we wanted to, but that was, I think the championship year run kind of blurs this year and this team, but that was the most successful team we had up to the championship season. So what
you're saying is, because Adele is releasing music again, we're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals.
There you go. That's the energy.
That is the connection I was trying to guide you to, and you guys found it. So fantastic. There's our hot take of the day. Fantastic stuff. All right, perfect. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys. It was I appreciate you guys doing that show with me. Crina S., can you let our listeners and viewers know where they can find your work and how they can follow along throughout the entirety of the Raptor season?
Go ahead, Crina.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at CrinaMM. It's honestly, right now, it's going to be a bunch of WNBA stuff. I'll plug all my work there. But as the Raptors start to come back, my timeline is going to be full of Raptors tweets again. So, if you want to subject yourself to that, go ahead.
By the way, she is totally underselling herself. She is awesome on the WNBA front. She is covering the hell out of the WNBA playoffs. So big shout out to her. Yeah, you can follow me at Just As Baraheni. It's gonna be tough to spell that, but just do your best to figure that out.
Do your best.
Honestly, though, like if you aren't following us at this point, like, what are you doing?
It is what it is, man. You can follow me, you can not follow me, but what you can do is go to the Scores YouTube page. You can find my content there, talk about basketball, not just the Raptors, but talk about the NBA in general and the landscape. Got a video coming out on Friday about the Utah Jazz. Should be a fun one, but yeah.
Perfect. That's the point everybody wants to get to. You're just able to kind of say, do your best, and then let your followers figure it out. And just another thing on the WNBA, bring a WNBA team to Toronto, please. Why hasn't it happened already? Let's keep pushing for that. That would just it would thrive and flourish immediately here.
It would instantly be the most popular WNBA team, in my opinion. I just, it has to be. There's no doubt about it. You have an entire country backing this team. So yeah, I agree. Bring the WNBA to Toronto. Yeah, the support would be incredible.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Perfect. If you aren't already, make sure you're following at Raptors Republic on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And if you thought we passed the vibe check here on the Rapcast today, leave a like, subscribe, or follow on the streaming platform of your choice. You can also interact with the community on raptorsrepublic.com. On behalf of Crina, Mustafa, and Baraheni, I'm Kris Cuaresma, and this was the Rapcast. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and we will talk again next time.